They're diarrhea. Diarrhea full of shit. Yeah. Play along me, myself, and I, and no one else. I'm so legit. I tried to set up an account, a different one on the Facebooks there. Or no, it was Instagram, because Facebook is doing the self-driving crypto update available bullshit. And it just says, no, fail. But I figured it took the picture I posted for sexual content like immediately. So, hey, fucko. You fucking moron. Oh, I asked for booby pics and you post a picture of your dead friend. Very low class. Yeah, anyway. I cut him out and used the head for a collage. Not the greatest picture in the world, but that actually kind of works, you know what I mean? Because, like, here's a chick who's like, yeah, whoa! So, yeah. Yeah. I have no shame. But, anyway. Fucking fag, fucking tech shit. Hey, oh man, what else? What's her name? She used to be in. She's not really on the list. Like once a month, I'll see if she's got like a new picture, whatever. I don't have a nickname for her, but she used to be in HR at the company where I worked. I never really mentioned her, but she had a phenomenal ass, and she was, cute, I guess. She kind of looks like Katie Buck a little bit. Just, she's cute. She's got a dickable face and all that, but, she would wear those spandex pants and whatnot. Now, I know it makes me sound really, really pathetic and deprived, The girls wear tight pants. Well, I got a thing, I got a fetish, I'm different. The fucking rules get applied to me, but they don't actually apply to me, so I get to say shit like that. Oh, she got big boobs. Yep. I like shit like that, because here on Earth, it's just kind of like blah, Like I said, all the dudes are like, tight wet hole, because they're all a bunch of fucking fags, But I'm like, oh, hey, butt cheeks, butt crack, and that crease rats meets thigh. Panties, thongs, proper cut, material, all that stuff. Most Earthlings are like, spit on my dick, shit on my face, and they turn into these fucking fucked up animals, I'm like, yes, butt, ass cheeks, ooh, walk, tight pants, shit. Is she aware that like her ass is totally on display? I mean, I know, I get it. It makes me look like a total, like I'm a 12-year-old, seeing a pretty girl for the first time, and I was like this out the gate, okay? I was humping the edge of my mattress when I was like 4 years old, thinking about, the moms that I saw at the pool that day. It's just how I am. It turned out all right. All the other kids were thinking about, G.I. Joe, and when they hit puberty, they were thinking about, buttholes instead of butt cheeks. I'm fucking different. So yeah, wear the spandex pants, woman. Walk. I'm looking at your butt cheeks moving up and down and all around. Well, anyway. But anyway, she had really nice up and down movement. She didn't have jiggle and a wiggle. She may have been able to accentuate that, get that going, but anyway. Sorry, I ate earlier, so. Check it out, just up, but very back, you see it. But I never mentioned anything when she was, there. I guess I could have. But yeah, she pursued other interests or whatever. I apologize for the yawns, but anyway, yeah, there's a girl who's got a good look. And she had a good ass. Probably the best in that whole damn office. Like I said, that's really it. Oh, there was this one girl, she came and was there for a bit and then left. And then there was Mrs. Butthead when she first showed up. And then that freak, weird shapeshifter turned into all kinds of shit. Went through all different phases. And like I said, what she's at now, it is actually pretty comical. She's on the list. I've reduced her to once a month. I'll just, what we got going on here? Nothing. Okay, moving on. But she doesn't really post a lot. She's not one of them Instagram girls. Occasionally she'll post something. She's just on the list. I wish her friend was still on the list, but she decided to just remove her presence from social media because she ain't got time for that shit. But whatever. I don't stalk those two chickens or anything like that, but her friend. Oh yeah. I think I only have one picture. I had some. Maybe I got them on another phone. But some of them, she's got a look. She's got those eyes, Dickable face. Mrs. Butthead, like I said, some of her pictures, it's like, others, it's like, wow, that's shit. And of course, what she's got going on now. But she looks goofy. I don't know how she looks so different from picture to picture. It's like she actually looks kind of ugly. And some of them she looks kind of cute. In a fucked up sort of way. And that stupid smile, And that one with all the jewelry. God damn. The fucking Guida. And all that shit that I've already said before. Hey, Ma, I met a girl. I think she's the one. She loved me. She clean for me. I don't know if he's Italian or not. Probably. Like I said, there was this one picture. It must have been like a couple excursion or something. What they call that, a Groupon or whatever. And they were there. I don't know who took the picture, but it was like, oh, look at this. It was like in the mountains of, New Zealand or something, Because like I said, I think what happened is she would occasionally tag along, vacations with her friend, and then she met the Guide, and he's like, we go to the home country. I meet you to my grandparents, my great-grandparents, like 112 years old, because that's how, they're not American. They still live in the old country, right? So they eat healthy and tend to their mountain farm with their little house made of rocks, and a grass roof. And they live up there. I think I had mentioned that. Maybe they have a vacation home there, all that shit. Anyway, I ate earlier, so speaking of, Just spaghetti. I ate some bread and spaghetti sauce. But yeah, I don't have anything to say other than Katie Bug. I think it was the movie Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Bleep. With he had a little daughter there, you know. And I had a vision, right, of you, because I think about you a lot, you know, like when I sleep, and just like I said, even throughout the day, twice. I think maybe even 2 days in a row, I kind of mildly thought about you during the day. Weird. But why do I feel this way? It makes me feel all fucked up and shit. Silly girl. But how are you not married? But you know, I think it would really, you know, do you some good to, you know, if you were married and had a kid, you know, it was like your own kid that you know, made with your wonderful husband. You had the baby. Boy or girl, probably a little girl in your case, you know. You'd put little bows in her hair, and you'd be wearing a little, you know, onesie pajamas, you know. And you know how babies are built weird, you know. They're like a jelly bean with little legs and arms, you know. They're just built weird, you know. They got these big heads, you know, in relation to their jelly bean body and their legs and arms. All fat, and they just sort of kick them and move them around, you know. They're just these helpless little creatures. They look at you, and their face lights up, you know. Man, like that one, I think I got it saved in some file where the girl's like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Oh, shit. That was me when I was a baby. And it smiles, you know, and just, yeah, babies are, you know, they're adorable, you know. Like one of the comments said, they bring so much joy into the world, you know. They're so innocent, you know. They're just little babies. But, you know, but they still feel and experience shit, you know, like that, you know. Something was going through that baby's mind, you know, like, why does mom look like that, you know? And something weird, and the one mama, when she takes the corn, you know, and the shit, you know, just the sheer shock, and you know, and you could sure that probably, yeah, he'd be mom, you know, and this, that, and the other. So you'd have your day, you know, just like Fatty McFatfuck, you know, your wedding, and oh, tears of joy and raw emotion on that day. And I don't know, you know, what your family is, if you got a ma and a pa, you know, and all that, and your childhood. And like I said, something's up apparently, like with your childhood. I don't know if my assessment of you was accurate. You know, maybe something a little bit more serious than, because mine's pretty lighthearted, you know, like, oh, you were just, you know. Yeah, I think you had said something about your sister. You had mentioned jewelry or something like that. That's why I thought you had a sister. So I'll give it to my sister. So, anyway. Whew. Yeah, I'd love bomb you if I wasn't a troll, did that sort of shit, and this wasn't fucking bullshit. But I'd do it in a way that would build you up. I watched a video today from Mr. Longhead. You probably know who he is. And I don't plagiarize these dudes. You know, I'm too dumb to plagiarize. I can't remember that shit. But I don't watch videos on how to be cool. And, you know, like I said, I would consider myself a Sigma, just not a cool one. You know, but I do get it. I do understand it. And it's genuine. It's hard to put into words. You've heard me talk about it before. You know, the little things. You know, you have the little moment and the tender human contact. You know, the exchange of emotions. Like I said, man, that spoof that I watch every now and then, the Backlunds or whatever. What are you eating? Sorry, Captain. Is it bothering you? No, I'm just curious what it is. It is called gum. Apparently, it helps with addiction. Is it working? It is not. You know, and just that's like a spoof of Worf and Data. You know, and that's kind of like not necessarily Worf, but although he was some sort of like warrior dude or whatever. Captain, on my planet it is imperative that we do not lose. You know, whatever. Because I wasn't a Star Trek fan, but the one with Captain Picard, the bald guy, and the black guy from Reading Rainbow. Have a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. That's old school. But yeah, I'd watch episodes every now and then, you know. And Data, you know, whoever that guy was. I do not understand this thing called love, you know, and just, can you explain it for me, Captain? Well, Data, it's kind of hard to explain. Sometimes when two people have feelings, you know, it's just you know, and just poor Data, he was a robot. That's kind of like how I talk sometimes, you may have noticed. You know, like I said, I live beside myself. So, you know, I'll say things like that and mean it. I'm not trying to, you know, you have your interaction, and then get this: if you really want maximum effect, you leave. It doesn't mean like get in your car and drive away. That just means go outside, go down the stairs, you know. And she's there all by herself, thinking about that interaction that you just had. That exchange of touch and emotion. You know, and just stuff like that. Go out and do some manly shit. Even if you don't actually like do anything out in the garage or the shed, just go out there and just unfold a lawn chair and just sit there. Or walk around. Or clean something. Just do something masculine. And she'll do something feminine. She'll make dinner. You know, and whatever. But yeah, bitches. Again, reminds me of like an old western. I don't remember what it was, but it was this dude. There's this girl, you know, and a boy. Where's Dad? Where he go? Oh, he's killed by engines. Oh, you know. So here's this drifter or whatever. You know, basically the same deal as Dad. He just hadn't been killed by engines yet. Stumbles across this, you know, single mom, you know, with a boy out there catching frogs and, you know, playing with his dog and tearing his pants, which was a big deal back in the day, right? You tore your pants, you know, or your shoes or something like that. You respected your clothes. But you were still a boy, you know. Maybe you took your shirt off. Maybe not your pants, but anyway, I'm just saying. And oh man, what was the deal? Maybe he had a dog. I don't remember. And he ended up trading him for his frog. And I've been gagging, like, yeah, eating my own cooking for the last couple months. It's been a long time since I had a woman cooked meal. Mom, he said I can have his dog if I give him my frog and you cook him dinner, and whatever. I don't even remember what movie it was. I don't know if it was a happy ever after thing, but them old westerns, they'll treat you right. Of course, John Wayne movies. You can't swim. Picks him up, by his, wads up his shirt, and picks him up by the back of his breeches and just throws him in the lake. Reach your arm out in front of you and pull the water back towards you. Not too fast now. That's how I learned. Which is kind of like a zinger. And then the mom, in her little dress or whatever, was like, I can't swim either, whatever. And he just sort of looks at her and she's just like, don't you dare, and all that. And them old westerns, man, well, they'll treat you right. But 21 minutes in. Anyway. Guess that's all I gotta say, baby. So, like I said, it's too bad I'm not legit, because